Choose any ATM of your convenience and stand a chance to win gold sovereigns.
Lanka Pay.
Highlighting flaws and corruption in the country's electoral system, the Justice Ministry presented a cabinet paper in the year 2022 to draft a law that contains provisions to control election campaign-related expenditures incurred by political parties. Following cabinet approval, the bill titled Regulation of Election Expenditure was drafted and presented to Parliament for approval.
If you look at the system which is prevailing, people who commit frauds, cheating, taking bribes, all kind of corruptions, when it comes to the election, they spend a part of corrupted money, ill-gotten money, and they get the highest preferential votes. That is how the people have been elected. One of the reasons is, in this corrupted electoral system, there are a lot of underworld people, maybe the people with ill-gotten money. They sponsor politicians with the expectation of getting some other advantages after they have been elected. Like in other developed democratic countries, there is no any regulatory process with regard to the expenditure of candidates. That is why I enacted the number 3 of 2023 Electoral Expenditure Regulatory Bill.
The long title states that the bill aims to regulate the expenditure incurred by recognized political parties, independent groups and candidates at every election conducted under the Local Authorities Election Ordinance, the Provincial Council Elections Act No. 2 of 1988, the Parliamentary Elections Act No. 1 of 1981 and the Presidential Elections Act No. 15 of 1981. On the 19th of January last year, against a backdrop of discussions on holding the local government elections, the bill was passed in Parliament with a majority of 61 votes. Even though steps were taken to include the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act No. 3 of 2023 in Sri Lankan law books, the Election Commission could not enforce its provisions as the local government election was not held last year, citing financial difficulties during a time in which the country was trying to recover from a deep economic crisis. However, the government announced that the presidential election, which is crucial in determining who the country's head of state will be for the next 5 years, will be held towards the end of this year between the 17th of September and the 16th of October. On Tuesday, Chairman of the Election Commission RMAL Ratnayaka announced that the date for the election will be announced before the end of this month. Further, the Chairman of the Election Commission assured that nothing will affect the presidential election this year except for a court order preventing the election. Against this backdrop, Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa has notified the Election Commission via letter to enforce the Election Expenses Regulation Act No. 3 of 2023 for the forthcoming presidential election. Speaking to Derana on this matter, Dr. Rajapaksa emphasized that the Election Expenses Regulation Act aims to transform the election culture and establish the rule of law.
Once nominations are accepted, within 5 days, Election Commission is bound to make a pronouncement how much could be spent by every candidate. After the conclusion of election, within 21 days, all the candidates shall tender their statements together with an affidavit stating that how much of money that they have spent for the election and also the sources through which that they have got the money. And if they have spent the money through illegal sources like that public funds, money collected from overseas, various other external factors, then other monies which they cannot explain from where that they got the money, then they are committing an offense. Once it is established, once that they give their statement, it has to be displayed for the public awareness. Then anybody can go and check that on the notice of the Election Commission or the district electoral officer. Then any person, any citizen can make complaints. They can file even in the election petition in courts asking to set aside or cost the election of such members. Not only that, court is empowered even to impose by way of punishment, imprisonment sentence and fines. If the contents of the affidavits are false, then it is perjury. Then they are liable to be punished for perjury also. I have already informed the Election Commission to call for a meeting together with all the party secretaries and relevant other authorities such as the police, bribery commission. Then we can discuss